Welcome to Ridgewood Talks. Through this podcast, we will be introducing you to some of the leaders and legends in our village. We'll keep you updated about fascinating local events, and we'll dig into the town's hot topics and so much more. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm Jeannie Johnson, the founder of Ridgewood Talks and Ridgewood Walks. The goal of these initiatives is to create a kinder, more connected, and more vibrant community. I'm thrilled to be co-hosting this podcast with my good friend and all-around wonderful guy, Jordan Kaufman. We look forward to meeting with you weekly and hearing your thoughts on who and what you'd like to learn about in our beautiful hometown. Enjoy this episode.
Hey guys, here we are again, another episode of Ridgewood Talks, where we do all the leaders and legends of our village. And today we are so lucky because we have a leader and a legend, right, Jordan?
Oh, for sure. So we have Kristen Plumley on, and she is a musician extraordinaire. We are very lucky. Our kids are very lucky to have someone with her talent and her heart and really just her community mindset living in our town, in the downtown area. So, Kristen, thanks so much for coming on.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me. And I feel like I don't need to say anything. You guys can just keep saying these really nice things and I'll just, I'll sit back and let you.
I am so glad because I prepared a whole intro for you. So I'm not going to waste that. I'm going to say it now. Kristen Plumley is a classically trained vocalist, better known as the shimmering soprano. That is according to the New York Times. Kristen has performed with countless opera companies throughout the United States and Canada, including the prestigious New York City Opera. She is a self-described diva, the good kind. She's a mom, a nature lover, a cat owner, and a fan of random funny things. Ms. Plumley is also very active in philanthropic missions here in the village. She sits on the board of trustees for the Women's Club of Ridgewood, the Ridgewood Arts Foundation, and is the president of the Ridgewood Friends of Music. And as if that isn't enough, she also coordinates the Society Cafe concert series at the Unitarian Society, the summer's Sunday in the Park concert series in Van Ness Square. She teaches the Joy of Singing class through the Ridgewood Community School, and dun-da-dum, she's learning how to play the tuba. God love her. Kristen.
By the way, I'm also a member of the College Club of Northern New Jersey.
Okay, good.
Throw that one in there
too. Thank you. Well, you know what? So Kristen accomplishes all of this and more with the steadfast support of her outstanding husband, Jeff, and her 18-year-old twins, Annie and Henry. So yes. Once again, welcome aboard, my friend. We have wanted to have you on this show for, oh my gosh, well, since it began. So I'm glad we finally made it happen. Thank you.
Yes. I am here.
Before we get too far into the discussion, that was a great intro, Jeannie. But Kristen, you've got some events coming up. And
yes, I do.
We want to make sure that our listeners know about those events before we get into the meat and potatoes here. So can you tell us about what you got coming up on December 7th and December 8th?
Yes. So it's a jam-packed couple of days. December 7th, Thursday, I will be performing my annual holiday concert at the Women's Club of Ridgewood. The club, by the way, has been newly refurbished, renovated. It's beautiful. So this is one of the first shows to be taking place at the Women's Club. So I hope everybody comes and sees how bright and fancy we are. So it is a concert of holiday music, both Christmas, Hanukkah, just regular seasonal stuff. Takes place on Thursday, the 7th. Now we have 2 shows this year, new this year, because some people have said, well, I want to come see your lunchtime concert, but I work during the day. I can't come. So we listened to the people and we added a cocktail hour show. So the first show is, it's noon lunch, a catered lunch, and a 12:45 concert. It will go until 1:30. And then the cocktail hour concert, it's a cocktail half hour from 5:30 to 6. And then the concert is 6 o'clock to 6:45. So it's short and sweet. We get you in and out because we know everybody has things to do this year, but it's a great way to kind of ring in the season and mix and mingle with your friends and have some good food and drink and whatnot. And I just want to promote my people who are providing the food. Dave Ciccolella of Yait will be cooking us lunch, and Charlotte Villamos of Charlie Phi is providing dessert. She will also provide nibbles at the cocktail hour event. And yeah, we'll have, cocktails. I think we're going to have a signature diva holiday time cocktail, which I have to come up with something. But yeah, that is the deal. So, and then on Friday, I will be singing with the New Jersey Wind Symphony. I've sung with before, and they are marvelous, terrific musicians. So they're performing their December concert, and every year they divide it into two parts. The first half is a regular concert, and I will be singing on that part. I'm not singing holiday music, actually. It's some old standards, some good stuff. Then the second half of the concert is called Tuba Christmas, and this idea is nationwide. Sometime in the early 70s, this idea was born, and the first Tuba Christmas took place, I believe, in near Radio City, and it brought about, I don't know if it's hundreds or a couple thousand tuba and low brass players. The idea behind it was, wouldn't it be fun to get a bunch of tuba players together to play Christmas carols? And it took place, and people came from all over the region and played Christmas carols, and it's taken off. And like I said, there are chapters all over the country. So now Ridgewood has one as well. We have not been around since the early 70s. I think it's sometime in the earlier 2000s. But anyway, they've invited tuba and low brass players. That's tuba, euphonium, trombone, maybe some French horns in there. And we get together and we play through the book. There's the standard book of Christmas carols, and it's all low brass. And it is funny and fun, and people in the audience sing along, and some of the brass players dress up their instruments. So you might have a big bow, on a trombone, or like lights around your tuba, and it is as funny and fun as it sounds. So, I'll be taking part in both parts of that concert because I do play tuba. So crazy. It's going to be a busy few days, but lots of fun.
Oh my God, that sounds like a blast. Now, that concert on Friday, you said that is going to be from what time to what time?
Okay, the concert on Friday will take place at West Side Presbyterian Church, and it starts at 8:00.
That is such a great venue. I'm telling you,
yes.
If you listeners, if you have not been to a concert at West Side Presbyterian Church, there is no better venue, honestly, in the area, including places in New York City. People from New York City, musicians and performers from New York City, give high praises to the acoustics in that venue. So I highly recommend that you go and you listen to our friend Kristen sing and play the tuba. And let's go back to that tuba thing. As a fellow tuba player, I know. I used to play the tuba when I was in high school. So why did you take up that instrument? Is it true that there is a tuba playing shortage in the world?
Well, as of about 3 years ago, there was. I'm not sure. I haven't tapped the recent census, but a few years ago, the Ridgewood High School band directors sent a letter to all the students who were in the bands there. And they said, listen, guys, we have 2 senior tuba players who are graduating. And after them, there is no one in the district that we know of who is studying tuba. And that's not good because you need to fill out the band, right? And especially marching band. We have an award-winning marching band at Ridgewood High School, and they were afraid we wouldn't have the low brass that really anchors everybody else. So they said, listen, we got a deal for you. If somebody wants to switch from whatever instrument you play to tuba, we will help you out. We'll get you the instruments, we'll get you a mouthpiece, we'll get you some lessons. We will totally hold your hand and take care of this. And initially, nobody took them up on their offer. And I know the band directors very well because of my musical dealings and especially Friends of Music. And I said, that's terrible. Nobody wants to play tuba. Well, heck, I'll play tuba. Like if I can do it, like anybody can. I'm a soprano, I sing high. I can barely read bass clef as it is, and tuba's in bass clef. I'm gonna try this. Never played a wind instrument in my life, or brass or anything. I played violin when I was younger. I tried to play piano, but again, that left hand bass clef thing gave me a hard time. So I started taking lessons, and I really didn't think that high school students would be inspired by my tuba playing. I used to post my little lessons that, on my social media, and I called them YouTuba lessons. um, But so again, I didn't think that younger people would watch these, but I thought maybe their parents would watch and say, "Oh, look what kooky thing Kristen's doing. Hey, they need tuba players. Or, little Johnny, little Susie, why don't you try the tuba?" Whatever. Yeah, I was just hoping. But anyway, so I don't know if anything ever happened there, but I did hear probably about 6 months later that there were 4 new tuba players at the high school. So I like to think that I had something to do with it, even if it's just that I threw my tuba energy out into the universe. But so now the high school they're all set. But
I am certain you are responsible for that.
Absolutely. But I kept, then I kind of got hooked, and I'm like, well, I'm putting the time and effort into it, so why don't I keep going, and it's something new. It's fun. It's different. It keeps your brain working, and I don't know what the end result will be. I certainly don't expect to be touring with any tuba groups soon, or maybe I'll join a community band at some point, but I'm just doing it for the fun and the love of it. And my teacher, Matt Billick, is wonderful. He just knows exactly how to handle me. We chat a lot, and kind of make it fun, but we get down to business too, and we learn tuba, and it's great. It certainly is something completely different from anything I've ever done.
Well, I can tell you this is a very good teaser for people to come and see you in concert on Friday, December the 8th at 8:00 at the West Side Presbyterian Church. I cannot wait to see you in your first concert. And also, so let's go back to what's going at the Women's Club. You have been doing that event for many a year. How many years have you done that?
I don't even know. It's probably more than 10 now.
Wow.
Yeah. It was suggested to me by a member years and years ago. She's since passed on, but she came up to me one year and said, "Kristen, you're a singer. Why don't you do a Christmas concert?" I was like,
and that's exactly how she sounded too, right?
Yeah. So I did a concert. I do include some Jewish music, some Hanukkah music, so I like to call it a holiday concert. And I did that one year, and I throw on a ball gown, and like people do. And I did a concert with a pianist, and I loved it, and people seemed to really enjoy it. We had a nice lunch, and I thought that was that. But then the next year, I was asked to do it again, and then it just kept going. And I felt my first year I had thrown everything at them. I took all my favorite Christmas music and Hanukkah music, and I learned some new Hanukkah music, and I did this. And so the next year and the year after that, when they kept asking, I thought, oh no, used up all my chestnuts, But so I learned a lot of holiday music. And people sometimes, send me songs and things, and some songs are very, very old, or no one's ever heard of them, but they're beautiful. So there's a lot to be found, and it's become sort of a tradition in my own mind, that I get all dressed up, and I play with a very good friend of mine. We went to music school together way back when, and I brought in a friend of mine, Patty Lazara, who plays flute and teaches flute in the area. And I have guest artists. Sometimes I have other singers, or I'll have, another instrumentalist. I've had Sherma Andrews, who is a local singer, like a jazz R&B singer. So that provides a really nice contrast. And I've had Jen Green, who plays cello. And this year, my guest artist is Adelmo Guidarelli. He is a fairly new resident of Ridgewood. He is a classically trained baritone, and he's going to join me. So that is going to be something a little different and lots of fun. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, that sounds great. And another thing that I love about this concert is the proceeds go to, where do they go?
So every year with this concert, we choose one of our charities that we support, and they, for the most part, help women and children. So it's a local charity. It's called North Porch Women and Infant Center. It is actually a series of churches. It's run out of one office, but they use several different churches in the area, and they collect and buy diapers, formula, wipes, critical supplies for people with very young children, infants and toddlers. And these are people who may not make it through the week without some of these supplies. So these are people who desperately need them, and they can go to their local church, ask for a bundle, and they're given out. And so North Porch, fundraises and takes donations of the actual items themselves or money to go out and buy these items. And they certainly have connections with places where they can get things in bulk so they can make the most of the money that they get. And they're just, their budget is a shoestring, and they work with volunteers from the area. And there is a nun who runs, the whole program, and they're great. I've known of them and been involved with them through the Women's Club for, probably 15, 16 years. So they do really great work. So yeah, we're happy
That's
to.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. Thank you for doing that.
Sure.
So I'm thrilled that you are involved with those wonderful holiday concerts and that your proceeds will be awarded to North Porch, which is in Newark. So Kristen, you talked about the Hanukkah music, and I know you're involved with something called the Infinite Lights Ensemble. It's a group that champions new Jewish music. Tell us more about that.
Yes. So this grew somewhat out of the pandemic. I, because of my work with the New Jersey Wind Symphony, I heard from one of the flute players there, and she got in touch with me back in 2018, maybe, and said, "Hey, Kristen, I'm working with a group of people. We're working on brand new compositions of Jewish music. Would you be interested in joining us? We need a singer. We need a soprano." And I said, "Sure, why not?" I am familiar with Jewish music because when I was a student, and certainly my years in New York, being a struggling artist, I would sing at all kinds of Catholic services and all kinds of Jewish services to help pay the rent. And so I'm very familiar with certainly the High Holy Days and other sacred services. And I know how to sing in Hebrew. So I said, yeah, sure, I'll give it a try. So it turns out that Kenneth Cornet, who is an accomplished pianist and organist and composer, he felt that Jewish music in services was kind of getting away, straying from its roots. And there was kind of a migration to singing more like folk music with a guitar. And he felt like we're losing the roots of the Jewish music that is so rich and wonderful. So he decided to write music for services himself. So he has written multiple pieces. Like you take one part of a service, he's written maybe 8 versions of that one particular piece of music. And he's very prolific. He just has all kinds of musical ideas. And the music definitely sounds like it's Jewish music, but kind of with a little twist to it. There's a little modernism added in there, maybe elements of jazz. Just really cool. I find it very interesting. It can be very complicated, a little difficult to learn. So it was really a challenge for me. So there are 9 of us in this group, a bunch of instrumentalists and me. And we started rehearsing at the synagogue where Ken worked. And we rehearsed and we thought, well, we're going to offer this to other congregations, synagogues, if they want us to come in and actually perform this music at a service, or if they want to just have a concert, or if we want to work at ethical culture centers or anywhere where people want to learn about Jewish music. It can be a very academic study or a musical one or a spiritual one. So we started getting all these ideas, and we were ready. I am not kidding. We were ready to make a recording of about 6 or 7 songs that Ken had written. And our recording date was March 20th of 2020. And we all know what happened. So we couldn't go record anywhere. We couldn't do anything. So it was a few months that we all just kind of, were hanging out in our houses, licking our wounds. And then I had the idea to just meet and rehearse at my church, which is in Ridgewood, it's a Unitarian Society. And, we have a big room. There's no chairs, no pews or anything. It's just a wide open room. We use chairs when we have services, but the chairs could be moved. So it's a wide open room. And we said, could we all come here and maybe rehearse? It's not being used at all. Nothing was happening there. So maybe we could get in and we can sit really far from each other, all around the perimeter of the room and practice. And that's exactly what we did. And we came together about once a week, and Ken kept writing music and would bring it to us. And I think for me, at least, that was something that I really looked forward to, because it was one of the only times that I could get together with other people safely and play and make music, So we increased our repertoire through that. And then when things loosened up and we were able to get back together, in regular places again, we did. We made some recordings of this music, and we've performed now, just like we thought we would, at synagogues and some churches and ethical culture centers and at some academic symposiums about music and spirituality. So it's been really cool. And it's been a neat way to learn new music for me, for everybody really, and to delve into more of what the Jewish culture and religion is about. And I've made some new musical friends, and it's been really cool. So yeah, I love it.
Oh, wow. That's really an impressive story. And especially right now, I love hearing, what you're trying to do given what is happening in the world right now. So I want to talk a little bit about some other interesting things that you have been involved in. I think it's kind of cool that you have performed with George Takei before too. Let's hear some more about that.
Okay. It was the winter of 2003. I auditioned for a Christmas show with the Indianapolis Symphony. It's called Yuletide Celebration. They do it every year. They've been doing it for 30 something years. So I auditioned for this group. I was cast. And what it is, it's kind of like the Christmas Spectacular at Radio City without all the dancing. So there's a host who is usually is always a well-known person, but can be from any genre of music. So they've had Sandy Patty before. They've had her many times, actually. This year they have Ben Crawford, who was the last Phantom in Phantom of the Opera on Broadway. They have all kinds of singers from all genres of music, and they're the hosts for the evening. They sing certainly a lot of solos. They sing with the choir. It's with the symphony orchestra, and they have backup singers or a chorus of singers, about 16 people, and a whole host of dancers, and then other children and actors. And they've had aerial groups come in before. They've had tap dancers. I mean, it's a whole smorgasbord of a show, and it is pretty spectacular. The music that they choose is just wonderful. They do great arrangements. They have a fantastic set. They have all set pieces that move, And the best part is that the singers, especially the women, in between every number that we do, we change gowns. I mean, they are full-on ball gowns, gorgeous things, and we change between every single number. So for that one show, I think I had 8 or 9 gowns, and they're not just, oh, what a lovely little evening gown, little, shift to throw on. These are full on, sequins and crinolines and hair pieces and gloves and diva jewels. And it was really something else. So it is quite a show. So anyway, wow, I talk a lot, don't I? So I did that show in 2003, and the producers and it runs for the whole month of December, and they pack the house every single night. And the producers would take the whole cast out various nights, like once or twice a week, to go out for drinks afterwards. And they were so generous. They would take us all out and be like, go crazy, help yourselves, you guys. So one night I was talking with one of the producers, and we had a couple of cocktails, and we started talking about Star Trek. I don't know how it came up, but we were talking about Star Trek, and I said, oh my gosh, I'm such a Trekkie. When I was 8 years old, I fell in love with the original series, and I watched every single one, and I saw all the movies, and I made all the little sets that you could make, the kits that you would glue together and all that, and I made myself a Star Trek costume, like Lieutenant Uhura costume, and I loved it, and I would wear it to school, and it wasn't even Halloween. I was such a geek. And the producer that I was talking to said, so was I. I was such a huge Star Trek fan, and I did the same thing, and I made the models, and I did this and that. And we were just laughing about that and thought how great it was. So cut to 6 months later, I was actually practicing in my living room one day, and the mailman came, and I went out and got the mail, and there was a package in there, and it said it was from Indianapolis Symphony. So I opened it up. There was no note, no letter, nothing inside. The only thing was a Lieutenant Uhura action figure. And that was it. So I was like, oh, that's weird. Okay, well, I guess, Ty just wanted me to have the action figure because he knew that I loved Star Trek, and I made myself a costume. A couple days later, I get a call from this producer, and he says, did you get the action figure? I said, yes, I did. Thank you very much. And he said, well, I want you to know that we have a series of productions here that we arrange, and they always have a theme, and we create an entire show and put it in a box, and we sell it to other symphonies across the country. So this is a marketable thing that can be done all over the place many times. And we cast it and then we send it off. So say that, Baltimore Symphony wants to do a show with music from Broadway classics from the 30s and 40s. We have a show for that. We hire the singers, like 4 people. We have costumes for them. We costume them all. We have set pieces. We have all the music. We rent all the music so that Baltimore Symphony buys that show for X amount of dollars. On that certain weekend, everybody shows up. They get their music. They rehearse it. They get the conductor as well. Everybody rehearses. They do 2-3 performances, and that's their show. They don't have to program that particular slot in their schedule. So that's the beauty of it, is that Baltimore Symphony makes up their program for every year. But if they buy one of these shows in a box, they don't have to program it all. They don't have to do all the bits and pieces. They just pay for the show as it comes. So Indianapolis Symphony had a whole list of different shows that they had. They had like a Vegas show, and they had Golden Oldies show, and they have Broadway's Leading Men show, and they had just created a science fiction show. So they called it Sci-Fi Spectacular, and it's music from science fiction movies and television shows. And they wanted to cast me in it as well as a tenor. And they said, we have all these songs for you. One of them is the theme from Star Trek, and we are going to build you your own Star Trek uniform so you don't have to make one out of a dance leotard. And that's exactly what they did. And I showed up one week in Indianapolis. We rehearsed the whole show with that symphony, and then we performed it there. And then we took it on the road. They would, they put it up on their website, and other symphonies bought it. And I performed it all over the country for 13 years. We didn't actually tour like as you think of bus and truck tour, going from city to city. It would just happen occasionally. Some years I would perform it twice a year. Other times it would be 5-6 times a year. So I would just go to Newark, get on a plane, go to wherever, Seattle, and work with the Seattle Symphony, and over a weekend or 5 or 6 days or whatever, perform this show. And that was that. Now, in addition to me and the tenor and the orchestra, we also had a guest host who was George Takei. And he was the original Mr. Sulu. He, of course, since I'm such a Star Trek geek, he was one of my idols, and I actually got to meet him, and I couldn't believe it. And I introduced myself and by saying, oh my God, I watched you, the original Star Trek. Oh my gosh. And all the movies and all the things. And I just love what you do. And, now what you stand for. And he is as gracious and lovely and fun as you probably think he is from, seeing him on TV or on the internet or whatever. He is just a superb human being, very smart, very interested in everything. He's an interesting person and also an interested person. And he would come on to the show and the concert and talk about, his life on Star Trek and what he does now. And then he would introduce me as Lieutenant Plumley beaming down from the Enterprise. We'd have a little shtick on stage, and I would come out in my uniform, and then I would sing the Star Trek song with the orchestra playing behind me. And he would do, the old Space, the Final Frontier. It was just, it was fantastic. So I was kind of like living my dream as my little, geeky 8-year-old sitting in front of the television watching Star Trek. This was like the epitome of, of that dream. And I can't believe I actually got paid to do that. I'm like, are you kidding me? You're paying me to sing the Star Trek song, which, by the way, has no words, and talk to George Takei on stage. And we would just improv. We just totally make stuff up. And he was just so much fun to do that with. And then the bonus was off stage, we would go to museums together in whatever city we were in, or go out to eat. And, he was marvelous company, always so much fun to talk to. And it's amazing to be with somebody like that who is so recognizable, so that people, would always like look and point and like, oh my gosh, and come up to him tentatively and, oh, Mr. Takei, I'm such a fan. Can I have a picture with you? Just to see what that kind of life is like was quite interesting, very different from the life that I live. But he was always so gracious to people, and he would sign autographs after concerts, and he would stay sometimes for an hour, sometimes for 2 hours, signing autographs and talking to people. And his husband, Brad, always travels with him. He's his agent as well. And he would tell George, like, George, we got to move along. Like, next person, 'cause we'll be here all night long if you keep talking like this to everybody. But he's just a gem. He's a quality human being.
A legend.
Yeah.
That's really cool that you had that experience. Wow.
Mhm. And he still wishes me a happy birthday every year.
Ah, that's the
Yeah.
best.
Very
That
nice.
is a really
Yeah.
cool story. Yeah, I mean, I think you have had such a wonderful life this far. I mean, you've done so much, you've accomplished so much. And, we're in Ridgewood, we're really lucky to have you. And the way that you give of your time and your talent to our community is so commendable. I really can't thank you enough. Tell us more about some of the things that the Ridgewood Arts Foundation is up to, the Ridgewood Friends of Music, things that you're involved in.
Sure, absolutely. But before I go on, I just want to say, Jeannie Johnson, you're somebody who gives so much of yourself too. And your ideas, I've always looked up to you as, the idea person. You just think of things and you're the great connector. You think, well, I want to do this, but then there's this person who does that and that person who does that. We'll put this all together and make this whole brand new fantastic thing that's never been made before, because we actually combine these people and their ideas and their talent. And you are terrific with that. And I've always really admired that about you. So,
Well, that's very kind. Thank you so much. But I have to say, the things that I've worked on with you have been the most fun things ever. I mean, honestly,
of
we have a
course.
blast together. Yes, we have so much fun together.
We do have a good time. Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
And there are lots of people in town, really. There's a great number of people in town who give so much and, so generous and so thoughtful and really have each other's backs and are willing to reach out and help. It's a special place. Yeah.
It really is a special place that we live in. And you're right. I mean, there are countless individuals in our community that just give everything that they have. Jordan, you're one of them. You're really involved in a lot of things too. So aren't we so lucky, you guys? Golly.
We are.
Yeah.
So quickly about Ridgewood Arts Foundation. This is, we're primarily a grant and scholarship giving foundation, hence the name foundation. We raise money to support local artists and arts organizations in and around Ridgewood. So twice a year we have a granting cycle, and we give out scholarships to students anywhere from middle school through high school and beyond, in college, even beyond that. And it can be for anything. You write to us and say, hey, I'm composing some music and I need money to, help with this software for my computer. Or I am like a visual artist and I'm working on this. I need supplies. I want to start working in oil paints and I need supplies for that. If it's an organization, hey, we are such and such orchestra and we have young artists who come work with us and we want to be able to provide a stipend for them because they have to drive a long distance, or they have to whatever, or we need music to buy for them or something like that. So it really is kind of anything that you need financial support for. But we have helped out some high schools that are really, their music programs are just not what they could be because they just simply do not have the money. So it feels good to give them a grant for, this certain program they want to start with their students, or to take up a collection of musical instruments because theirs were damaged, in a flood or something, and they don't have the money to, buy more. So that feels really good.
I'll just jump in here really quickly and add that the Ridgewood Arts Foundation has given a grant not only to the Ridgewood Schoolhouse Museum. Thank you very much for that. And they also granted some funding to a muralist who will potentially be painting a glorious mural in the pedestrian tunnel. So y'all just stay tuned for that. It's going to take about 18 to 24 months before we have the refurbishment of the pedestrian tunnel done. But there will be a glorious new mural painted down there thanks to the Ridgewood Arts Foundation.
Yay! And then the Ridgewood Friends of Music is something that's very near and dear to me. When I was, elementary school, I went to school in Connecticut, just outside of Hartford. And I remember we would go on field trips and sometimes we'd go to see the Hartford Symphony do their final dress rehearsal of a concert. So we'd be able to sit in the audience, and other school children did as well, I'm sure. And I remember listening to those, and specifically to Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra. And I remember just being taken with that, like, look at those instruments up there and listen to the sound. I mean, it was live sound, a whole orchestra. And I'm sitting 5 rows back in the audience, and, you can feel the music. You don't just listen to it, you actually feel it. And I thought that was so cool. Meanwhile, I was playing tic-tac-toe on the back of the seat in front of me because it's like velour, so I was playing with the kid who's sitting next to me. But anyway, it really made a big impression on me. And I look back now and I think it was probably some kind of organization like the Friends of Music that sponsored that, right? That organized this whole thing. So when I moved to Ridgewood, and I got involved with the Ridgewood Friends of Music, I would perform in their Friends in the Business concert, which John Lang, who was a teacher in the school district for many years, he organized that as a fundraiser for Friends of Music. He said, I'll get my musical friends together and we'll perform and have it be a fundraiser. So I had sung in that for a little while. And then I joined the board and I started going to meetings. And at one point, Lisa Plass, who was the president at the time, said to me, I think I'm going to step down. I was only supposed to do this for 2 years. It's been 6. I think I need to step down. I don't know what's going to happen with the Friends Music. And I said, no, can't go. So I offered to be president, and I never looked back. I think it's great. We are a group of parents who support the music programs and the music teachers in our public schools, K through 12. And we do that by fundraising at that concert that I mentioned, which happens every January. This year, it will probably be January 26th, 2024 at GW at 7:00. I haven't gotten final confirmation yet, though, so I just want to put that date, pencil it in. Yeah, we raise money to give back to teachers for special programming if they need to buy or repair instruments. We also provide students with unique opportunities. So coming up is the 7th and 8th grade honor band. This is a program whereby middle school students, 7th and 8th graders, can audition and be accepted into kind of an honors band situation. So they work with private teachers in the area and with high school students, students who are in the wind ensemble. They get together for several rehearsals, and the music that they play will be of a higher level than they're used to playing in middle school. And this is for the kids who really want to, get their game on and really want to reach the next level. So they'll rehearse for a few times and then they present a concert. And parents come and, they're always amazed at like how good the kids sound. It's like, yeah, when you start to play to the level that you're striving for, and you have people with you, the high school band conductors and the high school students playing with you, it can really make a difference. And these students go back to their middle school bands with that new knowledge that they've gained and with some inspiration, and hopefully they'll inspire other kids, So that is something that's coming up December 20th at the high school at the campus center, and Friends of Music bankrolls that as well. We have a showcase every year for young musicians. It's for elementary and middle school students who may not have a chance to perform solo in public as much as the high school kids do. So we open it up, kids just send in a video audition and an application, and we provide them with the venue and an accompanist if they need it. And it's an invited audience. So their parents, their friends, whoever they want to invite, whoever they feel comfortable with, and they get to perform a solo. Some of these kids, it's their first one ever, and it's such an exciting time, to see that and to see the difference between elementary school kids and the middle school kids, like how much further along the middle school kids can be, and how the stakes seem higher. The elementary school kids come in and they're like, yeah, I'm going to play. Whee! They do that. The middle school kids come in, they have a little more self-consciousness, right? They're just older. They're a little more developed, and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to play a solo. This has weight. It means something, and it's just cool to see. And it's great to have that, be able to give that opportunity to these kids. And then we do other things. We sponsor other events. We have a composition contest that closes actually Friday. We ask students of any age, really, through college, if they have an original piece of music that they've written, to submit it to us, the written score, and a recording. And then we give that to 5 impartial judges who are professional musicians. Some of them are professional composers as well. and they judge these. And then we have winners in each category. There's elementary, middle school, high school, and then post high school and or college. It's a little monetary thing. And it kind of gives a nod and just a little inspiration to these kids who may not necessarily be into performing alone. They may also like to create music. And so we want to focus on that too. So lots of things, that we do to help inspire a love of music in everybody, all ages in school. And we have a great music department all across the district. And we just want to, support that in any way that we can. Oh, we also provide scholarships for graduating seniors, by the way. There's that too.
Oh my gosh, you are involved in so many things. I think you're also involved with the Scholarship Trust of the Women's Club as well, are you not?
I'm not involved specifically with the Scholarship Trust, but I know that we have it.
Yeah. Yes, they do. I used to be part of the Women's Club and I was part of that too. But now that I'm a snowbird, now that I'm no longer in Ridgewood full time, I had to remove myself from all those wonderful things. But wow, you are involved in an awful lot of things, sister.
It keeps me off the streets because there's always danger of me getting into trouble. So the community school, yes, just quickly, the class is called Joy of Singing, although it's going to undergo a little bit of a change, just the title for the spring semester. But yes, I work with adults who love to sing, maybe have never really done it before, maybe have never studied voice or have never sung in a choir, or maybe they did sing in choir, maybe they do shows now, maybe they sing in a choir at church, and they just want more opportunity to do it, maybe to sing solo in front of other people, and maybe to get some critique, some feedback, and what can I do about this note? It feels weird. What do I do? How do I sound? Is this a good song for me? So I work with people like that. We get together, we warm up a little bit. We do some kind of centering exercises. I very much believe that when you're a singer, your voice is your instrument and it's inside your body. So your body is your instrument. So your body has to be running optimally to get the optimal sound out. And your brain is part of your body, and that part really has to be running optimal. So there's a whole lot of exercises that we do. And then everybody gets up and sings, and one at a time. And we have a wonderful live pianist who works with us. And then we talk about it, and I give them pointers and tips, and we try different things. And and I feel like it's just a real supportive group, a great community, because everybody's doing it, right? Everybody's getting up every week and singing one at a time. And the singing becomes better. The feeling about singing becomes better. Some students are now going out to open mics and making recordings, and it's really cool. And it's like, you can sing even when you're an adult, and it doesn't have to be it's professional or it's nothing. There's an in-between, sing because you love it, because you enjoy it. You want to be with other people like you and find that community and just sing.
Oh my gosh, how fun. It's like Toastmasters, only for singers, right?
Yes, I think that's what it is. Yes.
Do you do private lessons as well?
I do. Yes. I do children and adults. I like to work with older kids just because physiologically they're a little more mature and their voice is a little more in place. So I would say ideally high school and on, but a more advanced middle school student is fine. And adults, absolutely. And I teach privately in my home. And somebody can contact me directly if they want to inquire.
Absolutely. So that's good. So people can find out more about you through your website, KristenPlumley.com. Is that correct?
Yes. That's Kristen.
Thank you. And I will put that in the show notes. So Kristen, thank you so much for sharing all of your experiences and all of the things that you're involved with in our town. And again, Jordan, I'm sure you agree with me. We want to thank you for giving so much of yourself, your time, and your talent to our community. It is a gift to all of us.
Oh, well, thank you. It is my pleasure. I love it. I love what I do. I gotta say, I don't have any holes in my life,
That's
I'm
awesome.
very fulfilled. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. And I've got a very supportive family, which, is the key to everything. Yep.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Kristen, well, listen, have a wonderful holiday season and enjoy your concerts. I hope everyone goes out. Everyone who's listening to this, I hope everyone.
Me too.
Yes, I can't wait. Thank you again.
Thank you. Goodbye.